Hey everyone, I'm back with another really cool idea for a Wings of Fire game. Before, I thought about a role-playing experience, which brings out a lot of interaction, world building, and active roles. However, for this video, I've thought of something completely different from that experience. Imagine ruling over an entire city based in the Wings of Fire universe. Create your very own town filled with your favorite tribe. Manage their needs and become the best city on the continent. In essence, this Wings of Fire game will be based around the mechanics of city builders. For those who don't know, city builder games generally consist of you interacting with the world and the third person point of view. In these games, you place down structures and utilities to gain wealth, to expand, and further build your capital. Along the way, you'll unlock more cool buildings to decorate and continually add value to your city. I'll explain more about these features in detail, I'll just break each of them down for clarity. And if you're curious about the gameplay in the background, they're Jurassic World Evolution 2 and City Skylines 1. And for my concurrent audience, please let me know if you want to see me play these games in the future. Let's see how the gameplay will be handled. So in city builders, you generally begin with a limited selection of buildings to help start up your town. This could be roads and major structures like electricity, water, and waste. Additionally, you'd have access to buildings which help you grow your population, which in turn give you more wealth. This is where the gameplay loop begins. In City Skylines, you place down residential zones so people can move in. People need jobs, so industrial zones need to be organized, and there needs to be a way for residents to spend that money. This is where the commercial zone comes in. In Jurassic World Evolution 2, people want to see attractions and have amenities to enjoy those attractions with. In the Wings of Fire game, let's call it Project Possibility for now, you could set homes for residents to live in and set up stalls to keep the wealth flowing throughout the town. In Project Possibility, I imagine we can't have electricity, so we would need to focus on water and waste as our main utility management. To make things interesting though, I think we should introduce another main resource, security or military. It's Wings of Fire. I think there will always be a threat of war or some sort of rebellion with all these assassins and disagreements. We should always be prepared, especially if it's someone like Darkstalker. How would we place these structures though, I hear you ask? Well, let's look at an example. In City Skylines, you must first place roads before you can place any zone-dependent buildings, like houses or commercial districts. Although, roads aren't exactly a necessity in Wings of Fire, so let's look for another alternative. Jurassic World Evolution has a much better example, using a proximity and terrain system to place buildings. Adding structures with this system can make placement seamless. And to add a bit of a twist, it would be cool to randomize buildings when placing the structure so you're not using the same house model 200 times. I imagine water would be linked with proximity rather than distribution like in City Skylines. So dragons that are far from a water source could want a canal or aqueducts near their home. This constant loop will ensure that you're continually growing, and therefore you'll unlock more buildings and utilities to keep the game fresh and interesting. But that does seem a little bit too bare bones, so let's add another feature. How about a task system given by your citizens? As you progress your town's population, your citizens will start asking for things. They may want more infrastructure at the cost of your resources. By accepting their task, you relinquish some of your funds to help pay for their project. They could either fail, meaning you've just wasted your money, or succeed, leading to increased happiness and other tangible bonuses in the game. Some tasks could even help you unlock exclusive buildings, only available after you've helped an exact number of citizens. Now, you don't have to say yes to everyone. You're the one in control here. Let's say a Nightwing doesn't want their tribe to pay rent for the next 30 days. But the Nightwings are bringing the bulk of your income. You may want to carefully consider whether you'll be in debt by the end of the month. However, saying no to someone will increase the probability of rebellion. Ignore your citizens' requests for too long and they may consider trying to overthrow you. It would be good to strike a healthy balance so you can keep expanding for the sake of your citizens and your queen. But there could be another way to thwart such rebellious attempts, and that's through security. As you continually grow your population, you'll encounter new problems. Crime may ensue and cause civil unrest. Citizens may start to leave, or they could rise up to overthrow you. By introducing security utilities, you can keep your city crime-free and you can protect your citizens from potential invaders, like some rogue skywings or sandwing bandits. Doing this will ensure that your town will remain undisturbed and continue growing. Something else that I thought would be really cool is having some characters from the novel visit or even try to consider staying in your city. It would be similar to the task system I mentioned, but this time you don't have to give them any resources. Instead, these unique characters will appear in your town based on different criteria. As an example, Starflight and Fate Speaker could appear if there are more than 50 Nightwing citizens, or maybe Riptide if you happen to build a Talons of Peace center from a citizen's task. They give you a limited bonus each time they visit, and a permanent buff if they stay in your town. For them to stay though, you would need to build a specialized residential home, which is a unique structure only for the characters in the novel. Starflight and Fate Speaker may have an ancient Nightwing tower to live in, while Riptide's home could be a submerged cove. I'm sure you'd be able to come up with better designs, but you get the idea. However, you may be wondering, is that it? That's not very replayable, and I get your concern. So let's introduce multiple locations. It would be very similar to City Skylines, where you choose where you settle your town and name it whatever you want. In this case, you could find a good spot in the Skywing Fields or the overgrowth of the rainforest. And for the added challenge, you could experiment with a volcanic Nightwing Kingdom to see if that place is ever habitable. It's not that you'll be leaving your main city, it's more like an expansion by adding a sister city under your rule. By starting new towns, you'll still have the buffs you earn from obtaining unique characters, so you won't be starting from scratch. This makes starting towns a less tedious process than restarting from the beginning. Your treasury in this place will be completely separate from your main city though, so you'll still have to work on constructing residential and commercial areas to get your population and treasury up again. And frankly, that's all the tangible ideas I had about this Wings of Fire city builder. Now, I've had other ideas like declaring war on other neighboring tribes to gain territory, and I even thought about a corruption system and including laws, but that felt too convoluted for a game that just needed to be simple. But anyways, what do you think about this game idea? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more Dragons and Dinos, and as always, thanks for listening.